All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless D here on the Harmless Dave channel, talking about real music and the end, yes, the end of the classic rock era, or error, depending on how you want to define this, and doing what I do in real time for just a few real people like you there, right there, and like me here. All right, so David Lee Roth is out there, and the internet is abuzz. So let's talk about Dave, shall we? I'm going to do a little screen share here of a very recent performance. He's in St. Louis and he's singing Panama. Now, I can't play the audio. I can't. I mean, look what's happening to Rick Beato right now. And he's got lawyers. I don't have lawyers. I mean, I could do this with fair use and say, hey, here's the track. But again, I'd like people to watch the videos, but I'd also like people to help this channel. And if I'm demonetized, it's not going to help my channel. So here comes Roth, right? Wearing the spandex, of course. Folks, can I just say this without being too blunt? There's certain parts of David Lee Roth I don't need to see anymore. I didn't need to see them back then, like 40 years ago. I didn't need to see them. All right? This whole, okay, and this may make some people upset, but some of the 80s stuff, spandex, for one, I mean, men wrapping themselves tightly in spandex. I get it. I kind of get it with the women. All right. I kind of get it, but it's on both sides in those days. And I would prefer the ripped jeans and the flannel shirts. So am I saying that I've changed my mind about 90s music? I've softened a little bit on the music. The image, way better, way more like, yeah, we're working class. See, the 80s was one big party which came to a crashing halt. Much of it driven by the music industry itself and not by actual personal tastes. Because I've always contended that you could have this and you could also have, your Pearl Jam and your Soundgarden and your Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains, and you could have all that stuff. But you keep Van Halen and you keep Poison and Def Leppard and Rat and everybody else. You keep all that stuff. Let them compete, see who does better. And maybe those guys, my guess is after a while, those guys would change the spandex and put on some jeans and a t-shirt and maybe tone it down. Now, Roth, he's 70 years old, and there are things I do not want to see David Lee Roth wearing spandex, all right? I mean, I'm sure it's not all post-menopausal women that are going to these shows. There got to be some boyfriends and husbands there as well. And God forbid, maybe their kids are there with them. So again, don't need to see a couple of what I just saw there. Now, a couple of, give you a hint. So Roth, okay, chewing gum. David Lee Roth comes out onto the stage chewing gum. And he's going to sing Panama, which if he was actually going to sing it correctly, would be a difficult song to sing. Now, the only guy left in the Van Halen franchise who could probably sing Panama correctly is Michael Anthony. Just putting it out there, and that's Sammy's secret weapon. But he's chewing gum. You're watching this. This is... How much did you pay for tickets? This was at someplace in St. Louis. Happened a couple of days ago. BigConcertFan.com posted this. People say, I'm going to go see the concert. It was great. And I'm like, I watched the clip and well, it's a cell phone, Dave. A cell phone is picking up the video. Forget the audio is atrocious, right? Both the singing and the audio quality is horrible. But he's already lost me because he's walking around, he's chewing gum as he's trying to sing one of the more challenging rock songs in the Van Halen catalog. Not the most challenging, right? But he's got to sing it. And people will say, well, at least he's singing it in the original key. No, the song is being played in the original key. He can't find a key. All right. Dave can't find the key. The song is being played correctly. Vocally, he's nowhere near where the song is. He's all over the place. He's doing this weird Elvis thing too at times. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. I don't know if he's always done that. But one of the great comments on here, it says here, I've said for decades, even during the last stages of his first run with Van Halen, that David Lee Roth was nothing more than a glorified lounge singer. And that is all he ever wanted to be. So right now, he is living the dream. Perfect analysis. I just see this as a big money grab for Dave. I get it. You know, he is in a position where he's probably thinking, you know what? There are other people doing this. Frankie Valli's out there and other people. Frankie Valli is lip syncing, which is sparing the audience from the sound of the wounded chicken. It just is. Now, there's another, and I'm just going to look at the headline here. If I share this again, which, yeah, I'll share it again just so you can see the headline down here. The Drew Lane Show. Not sure who Drew Lane is, but David Lee Roth sounds like crap singing Panama. It's just, oh, and people are posting all these videos. And it's this, the only way this ends, because people say that, well, they're making money. Why are you judging him? Blah, blah, blah. Because this is, number one, it's a ripoff. That's number one. Go see, like, Van Halen. Has anyone heard Van Halen? Go look up some F-A-N, Van Halen videos. And the guy sounds like Roth did in 1982. All right? And to me, it's way more satisfying as far as if you want to listen to, you know, the Dave Van Halen years. The other thing that I get a lot, and the comments will start pouring in, well, Sammy's a jerk. Sammy is this. Who's better, Sammy or Dave? Well, Dave's way better. Not right now, he's not. And maybe never, okay? In my humble opinion, which apparently there are a lot of Dave fans out here, I'm not talking about the music. I'm talking about the singing. I'm talking about overall performance. People will say, well, Dave is a great showman. Okay, what instrument is Dave playing out there? What's he playing? He's got a microphone, right? That's it. Sammy used to play guitar all the time. Used to play rhythm guitar, lead guitar sometimes, but mostly he's augmenting the Van Halen sound because you've got Ed, so you don't really need a whole lot more. But he brought that to the table, which I think is pretty good, right? A good musician. I would say he's a pretty good musician, Sammy Hagar. You know, he's never going to be on anyone's top 20 best guitar players, especially when Joni Mitchell is parked at number 2 or number 3 or whatever. And then all these other people are going up the ranks because all the old timers are being, you know, memory holed because, you know, can't have these old white guys be guitar legends anymore. If you're good, you should be on the list. How's that? Black, white, yellow, whatever color you are. Vernon Reid is a great guitarist. I don't mind saying that. But I'm not checking to see how much melanin content is in your skin or whatever. So bottom line here, folks, is that I think this is a ripoff, but people continue to go because maybe they just want to people watch, right? Let's just take a look at Dave one more time. I mean, this is truly, there are a lot of similarities here too. I think of Chickens for some reason. This singing, I think of a chicken maybe that had its toes stepped on. But here he is, and again, the gum chewing. I mean, how do you sing with gum? The first thing If you're a vocal coach or something, first thing they would tell you is, what the hell? Take the gum out of your mouth. Just, it shows that he's really not that serious about being a singer. Now, he could probably color a little bit more between the lines. All right. My guess is that he just doesn't care. He knows he's got everybody's money. He can go out there and shake his groove thing. Ugh, I don't want to see this. All right. But anyway, the person, at least now, he got the memo and he's starting to shoot Dave from the waist up. Thank God, right? Thank God. He's shooting Dave from the waist up. Just keep the camera right where it is. All right. And yeah, his band, everyone says his band is good. Yeah, his band sounds good. Is his band better than Sammy Hagar's band? Nope. No way. Kenny Aronoff on drums. And before that, it was all right. So we're starting to get the full Monty again with Dave. So, just unshare, please. No, Sammy's band. You first of all, Michael Anthony. Hello. All right. Checkmate. I already won. I got Michael Anthony in my band. What's number 2? Joe Satriani. That's number 2. Number 3, Kenny Aronoff. Done. So anyway, folks, for those of you who care about this whole David Lee Roth is back and performing, and there's a feud that's still going on between Dave and Sammy. The feud, it's not really a feud. It's all for publicity and keeps everybody in the news. I don't think there's going to be a Sam and Dave tour anytime soon, like next year. But of course, if there's money on the table, the problem for Sammy is, do you put your name on that, what we just saw? You know, he was gracious the other day because Dave came out and said that, yeah, he believes that Sammy saw Ed's ghost, and this whole thing is just like goofy. But Dave says, yeah, I did too, and then he tells this, and the storytelling is actually more entertaining, to be honest, than the singing. It's way more entertaining. If he wanted to go out there and do a book tour or something, write a book and then do some storytelling for an hour. Give him a microphone. Let him talk. That's what he wants to do anyway. The other guy says lounge singing. I just don't think he could even do the lounge singing thing. They'd have to tune everything differently. And I don't even think he's up for that. He had a great run. He had a good run, not a, toward the end, okay run. The beginning, he was fantastic. The early years, 77, 78 to 84? That's really prime Van Halen territory. What happens after that? I think 5150 is one of the greatest albums ever made. Sorry, I know people will disagree with me. Every song on that is a winner. And you got a guy on there who could just out-sing David Lee Roth and not even have to try very hard. All right. And even then, because their ages are separated by what, 7 years or so? 6, 7 years. Even then, where Sammy's older than Dave, Dave is already starting to go downhill. And that happens rapidly in the 90s, where Hagar doesn't really go downhill until maybe like 2017. All right. And when I say downhill, he's not embarrassing. He just knows that he can't do some of the things he used to do vocally. And he adjusts accordingly. He throws off-speed stuff when he sings. So, all right, people, I need to take a breath. And it's just David Lee Roth, folks. But you know what? This stuff, if it keeps going like this, it's just going to make all of these people from the time period that I enjoyed the most look like fools, right? If most of them don't already look like fools, it's going to be cemented in the memory and in the history books, and people will remember the day when David Lee Roth came out, sounded like a chicken, and, dressed like a chicken in spandex. And I guess there are a few people that still enjoy that. But for me, I'm going to say No, thank you. All right. Done. Sorry. This video makes me feel like I need to go and take a shower.